fire.
Okay. Hello folks, and welcome to another episode of the Hold Fast Garage. This, for those of you new to the channel, or if you just need a refresher, this is the Great White Beast, so named because, well, it's a giant car and it weighs 4,000 pounds. And the power plant is a 454 cubic inch Chevy V8 big block engine. It's a beast of a car. Now, the story is that in 1974, my dad, who at the time was 19 years old, knew, because he was a car guy, still is, knew that Chevy was going to stop making convertibles after the 1975 model year. And he wanted one. So he went to the dealership, sat down with the salesman, and went line by line. What paint do you want? What interior? You want a convertible? Okay. Engine? What kind do you want? Rear end? Everything. This is Dad's car. It's mine now, but I still think of it as Dad's car. This car brought me home from the hospital. We're fairly certain it brought my sister Chelsea home from the hospital as well. This was the Skellinger family car for a few years. Unfortunately, events transpired that left this car sitting in our yard for several years, and eventually it was Dad put it in a shed so that it, the rain wouldn't keep falling through the roof, which was punctured. Something about kids climbing all over it might have been me. Definitely it was me. So for about 25, 30 years, this car sat and didn't get cared for at all. So about 2 years ago, almost exactly, we loaded her up on a truck, or on my trailer, and I brought it out here to Virginia to put it in my garage and start working on it. Now, both Dad and I were pretty sure that sitting that long in Iowa winters and summers with the humidity and the temperature changes and all that, that moisture would have gotten into the engine and it would, the cylinders were going to be all frozen, rusted solid, locked up. That was not the case. We've been exceedingly lucky throughout the project so far. It took 6 months, I think, before the engine turned over for the first time. And it could have happened faster than that, except that, again, I don't have any training. In shop class in high school, I took apart a lawnmower and put it back together, and there were spare parts, and that lawnmower never cut a blade of grass ever again. But I did spend 20 years in the Navy, in submarines, and so I've got some mechanical background just kind of in general from that. And we have a sort of a unofficial motto in the submarine force: fake it until you make it, which I think we can all agree is a good motto to have for people living and working on a nuclear vessel that dives. Anyway, so I just dove in, and I've been kind of fumbling my way through this. Dad has come out and helped several times. I think those are my best episodes, actually, is when Dad's here. Unfortunately, he's not here now. So we started having some engine issues, and I was chasing them down, doing everything I could to try and find it. Finally pulled the valve cover off the cylinder heads, and discovered that one of the push rods had suffered catastrophic unscheduled disassembly. So pulled the head off on the passenger side here, and we've been looking at it. We pulled out a couple of the couple of the valves. Now, I'm fairly certain that these two were connected. So there's some damage to the end of this one anyway that's going to have to be replaced. So what you don't want to do, let me say it another way. A good rule of thumb is when you're doing something with an engine, if you're going to do it to one side, you should also do it to the other side. Well, that means I should take off the port side, the driver's side cylinder head as well. I don't want to, because that's going to involve taking out the compressor for the AC system, or at least removing it from its current location and kind of setting it to the side, and I'm not looking forward to that. And getting this thing off, if you go back and you watch episode 32 and 33, 32 especially, getting the starboard side head off, it was a chore. But again, it's a best practice, a good best practice to maintain. If you're doing something to one side, do it to the other. And we've got all the software, all the gaskets and such for the whole thing. So might as well, you know, if there's damage like this to the other side, we want to know about it, and we might as well fix it while we're in here rather than have it, you know, cause a problem later and have to do this all again. And I do have to keep reminding myself that, as I said, we thought this thing was going to be all frozen up, so I'm way ahead of schedule from what I expected to be. And it kind of stinks that it's summertime now. I would love to be driving this old girl around, going to car meetups and going to get ice cream and, you know, fun stuff. Not that working on an engine isn't fun, but you got to keep plowing forward. It's time for me to do some wrenching again. So today, the goal is to try and get all the fasteners removed out of the port side cylinder head, and then I'll get an engine hoist in here to actually pull that off, and probably bribe and cajole one or two friends to come over and help me with that particular removal, just cause. Anyway, it's time to stop yammering on, stop procrastinating, put some music on, and start wrenching. Here we go. Okay, so to maintain my own sanity and for future reference, so this is a ground on this wiring harness right here. So this ground attaches right there, so that's going to need to go back on it, you know, in the end. And then this guy, this black one coming off here, attaches, where is it? Somewhere over here. Can you see? Down here? Down there? Yeah, that goes there. Okay, so we're not going to screw that up. Hey folks, it's me, Aaron again. Remember from like 5 minutes ago? Uh, so I have an update, and it's not good news. Have a look. So before I started pulling things apart, I decided to have a look at the camshaft here, and I can run my finger across, and I can feel that this one is not flat. This one is flat. This one's flat. This one is. This one is not. So I went ahead and pulled out the hydraulic lifter. That is also not flat. What does this mean? Well, this means that this lifter and at least two others, from what I can tell just by what I can see and what I can feel on the camshaft through those slots there. This guy is damaged. You got shadows here. So that one's damaged. This one's damaged. This one's damaged. I think all four back here are fine. I think. Sorry, I need better lighting. Well, what that means is this motor has to come out. Because the camshaft is damaged. It's rounded. It's rounding off some of the lifters. Well, the lifters and the camshaft are grinding each other instead of lifting properly. So the engine's got to come out so that, because the camshaft is as long as the top of the engine. So it's, I mean, maybe I could pull the shroud and the fan and the radiator out and just pull the camshaft out that way, but no. It's all gonna have to come out. So, do I pull the transmission with it? Do I detach the transmission? I don't know. There are a lot of questions to be answered that are not going to be answered today. I'm going to carry on with removing all the bolts, everything out of the port side cylinder head here. All this. So this is the compressor I was talking about. So that's going to have to come out to get at the bolts that are underneath and all that. But yeah, this is bad news. The battery on the light is dying, that's why it's blinking at me. Yeah, bad news. Bad news bears. But, oh, yeah, there's oil in there. And if you push. So actually, that's what I'm wondering. So this center section here, that you can depress that. That's why that oil's coming out. So what I wonder is, these ones that are damaged, did they get clogged up with oil and debris? Because it looks like there's some chunkies in there. It's kind of hard. Anyway, so did they get clogged up and that's why they weren't operating properly? I don't know. More questions without answers. So that's where we're at, and I'm just gonna keep tearing things apart, because at this point, that's all I can do for today. So this will be a short episode, probably. No, we'll see where it goes from here. Dang it. Step 1. Or 3. Drain the rest of the radiator fluid that wasn't already drained when you disconnected all the top hoses. And then, I don't know, step 4 comes next. So when you're dealing with metal lines like this one here, I don't know if you can see that, you're not supposed to use a regular box wrench. You're supposed to use a flare wrench so that you get more coverage on more sides. I can get this one on, I can't get this one on. So I may end up replace whatever this line is. I think it's a transmission cooler. It's going great. Yeah, things are going well. All right, folks. Well, it's good news, bad news. It's getting late. It's like, I don't know, we're getting on towards like 10 o'clock at night. I need like to hire a dog wrangler or something, because every night at 5 o'clock I feed the dogs and then they have to go for a walk. And I mean, I love doing it, but you know, it takes a big chunk out of the day. Anyway, back to the good news, bad news. I'll show you. So, good news. Let me get some light in here at the front. There we go. Now we can see. So you can see the lower radiator hose there. This guy is detached from that guy, and this coolant line is detached. Bad news is that this one is not. I don't know. Can you see? It's, despite all my best efforts, it's pretty well rounded off. So I think we're going to go ahead and use the nuclear option, which is cutting it off. And then I'll just use, once I get the radiator out, I'll use an easy out to get that off, and I'll just end up replacing that coolant line, which I think is a transmission coolant line. I think. Anyway, so we're gonna go ahead and use a Sawzall, and well, that was embarrassing. Battery died right in the middle of me talking. I'm gonna use a Sawzall. We've got a very Jack Skellington thing going on here. We're gonna chop that bad boy off, and then we'll use an easy out once I get the radiator out to actually remove that, and I'll just replace that line. Plan. We have one. And Nightmare on, or Night Before Christmas effects. I don't know any of the songs from that movie. Anyway, back to the task at hand. Here we go. Okay. All right. That's not what I planned to do today. But it's a thing done. I feel bad about that. About cutting that line, but it's just kind of what you got to do sometimes. Live to fight another day, you know? Yeah. All right, folks. Today did not go as planned. That's just how it goes sometimes. So that's fine. We will adjust. I was I guess I was a little naive thinking that I would be able to get through this project without ever having to pull the engine out. And you might there might be an argument to make that I should have just pulled it out from the get-go. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. We'll just keep rolling, keep moving forward. We're gonna go ahead and end this episode here. I think, you know, keep this one a little shorter. That's fine. And we'll pick it up. I don't know what we're gonna do next. I think we'll take the compressor. I've never dealt with refrigerant, so the compressor intimidates me a little. I might have to do some research on that, how to do that properly. Get the fan off, get the belts off, pull the water pump, the smog pump, which I have, at this point, since we're going this far into it, I'm gonna take the smog system off. I know there are some of you that are cheering right now. I'll just soak it in. Because it's just, it's ugly for one thing. But anyway, yeah. It's it's kind of the nature of a project like this, right? You start pulling a string and things start unraveling in front of your face, and you're like, wow, this is not what I thought I was getting into. But I'm learning, and I'm gonna keep learning, because we got this all. Most of this has to go back in at some point, if this beast is ever gonna speak again. And she will, trust me. We'll make it happen. Anyway, I appreciate you watching, as always. If you're enjoying this, if this is your first episode and you like what you see, or if you've been here for all 33 previous episodes, I appreciate you equally. If you're enjoying it, if you like what you see, tell your friends, tell your enemies, and we will pick this up in episode 35. I have no idea what we're going to do in that episode. Cliffhanger. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next episode. I'm tired.